Imagine it's August 28, 1963. The heat in Washington, D.C. is suffocating, and the stakes are even higher. You are Martin Luther King Jr., standing before 250,000 people at the Lincoln Memorial. You have a prepared text in front of you, a safe, powerful speech. But halfway through, you feel the crowd needs something more. Suddenly, from behind you, the legendary gospel singer Mahalia Jackson shouts, "Tell them about the dream, Martin." In that split second, Dr. King did something that changed the world. He stopped reading. He pushed his notes to the side, gripped the podium, and began to speak from his soul. What followed were 17 minutes of the most important oratory in American history. But why was this speech so dangerous? And why did the FBI label him the most dangerous man in America immediately after? Stay tuned, because the story behind the dream is even more powerful than the words themselves. To understand the dream, we must first understand the nightmare of 1963. America was a nation at war with itself. In the South, Jim Crow laws turned human dignity into a crime. Black Americans were greeted with white-only signs at lunch counters, bus stations, and even water fountains. The March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom wasn't just a peaceful walk, it was a massive political demand. The city was on high alert, the military was on standby, and many feared that the day would end in violence. Into this tension walked Dr. King, carrying the weight of 300 years of oppression on his shoulders. Many people forget how the speech actually started. Before the dream, there was the debt. Dr. King used a brilliant metaphor, stating that the American Constitution and the Declaration of Independence were promissory notes to which every American was to fall heir. He boldly told the nation that for its citizens of color, America had defaulted on this note. He famously said that the nation had given black people a bad check, a check that had come back marked insufficient funds. But King's genius was in his optimism. He refused to believe that the Bank of Justice was bankrupt. He was demanding that the nation finally cash the check that promised the riches of freedom and the security of justice. The most famous part of the speech, the "I have a dream" refrain, was almost entirely improvised. As Dr. King neared the end of his written remarks, he shifted gears. He moved from a formal lecturer to a prophetic preacher. This is where the rhythm of the speech changed. It became a symphony of hope. He began to describe a future that seemed impossible in 1963. He wasn't just talking about changing laws, he was talking about changing hearts. He visualized a day where the heat of injustice would be transformed into an oasis of freedom. Then came the lines that defined the 20th century. Dr. King spoke of his 4 little children, dreaming of a day when they would not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. This was a revolutionary concept. It challenged the very foundation of racial hierarchy. He didn't just target the government, he targeted the human conscience. He spoke of Alabama, a state then governed by men who breathed the words of interposition and nullification, and dared to see a future where little black boys and black girls would join hands with little white boys and white girls as sisters and brothers. Throughout the speech, King maintained a strict code of conduct. He warned his listeners not to satisfy our thirst for freedom by drinking from the cup of bitterness and hatred. Influenced deeply by the non-violent resistance of Mahatma Gandhi, King preached that the soul force, satyagraha, was the only way to achieve lasting peace. He proved that you do not need to pick up a stone to move a mountain. You only need a truth that the world can no longer ignore. As the speech reached its climax, King's voice became thunderous. He called for freedom to ring from every corner of America, from the prodigious hilltops of New Hampshire to the curvaceous slopes of California. His conclusion remains one of the most emotional moments in human history. By quoting the old spiritual, free at last, thank God Almighty we are free at last," he wasn't just speaking for Black Americans. He was speaking for the liberation of the American soul itself. He knew that the oppressor is never truly free until the oppressed is free as well. The impact was immediate. The speech put immense pressure on the Kennedy administration, leading directly to the Civil Rights Act of 1964. But it also made King a target. The FBI intensified their surveillance, and the struggle became even more dangerous. Today, the I Have a Dream speech is not just a historical document, it is a living challenge. It asks us, have we cashed that check? Is character truly more important than color in our world today? Dr. King's dream was not a destination, but a journey we are still on. Dr. King's 17-minute speech changed the trajectory of the human race. It proved that words, when fueled by truth and love, are the most powerful weapons we possess. The I Have a Dream speech did not stop at the borders of the United States. It crossed oceans and climbed mountains, becoming the universal anthem for the oppressed. From the struggle against apartheid in South Africa to the pro-democracy protests in Eastern Europe and the streets of India, King's words became a manual for revolution through peace. He proved to the world that the hunger for dignity is a global human instinct. When he spoke that day, he wasn't just an American civil rights leader. He became a global prophet. He showed every person fighting under the shadow of a dictator or a caste system that moral force is the only power capable of bringing down empires without firing a single shot. We often celebrate the glory of the dream, but we must never forget the heavy price the dreamer paid. After those 17 minutes in Washington, Dr. King became a marked man. He lived the rest of his life under the constant shadow of death, knowing that his vision of a beloved community made him an enemy of those who profited from hate. Yet, he never retreated. He knew that the dream was bigger than his own life. This sacrifice is what makes the speech so hauntingly beautiful. It was spoken by a man who knew he might not live to see the promised land, yet he marched toward it anyway. His life reminds us that the greatest dreams aren't the ones we achieve for ourselves, but the ones we plant for children we will never meet. If you're inspired by Dr. King's legacy, make sure to like and subscribe to this channel, where I'm dedicated to bringing you the true stories behind the powerful life and journey of Martin Luther King Jr. Don't forget to hit the bell icon and share this video to help keep the dream alive. Thanks for watching.